This lesson is on the multiplication of fractions. When we multiply fractions, we're simply finding the product of the numerators and writing that over the product of the denominators. Now, there are two schools of thought in how to do this. Some people really like to go ahead and write their answer, their product first, and then look for anything that they can do to simplify their answer. So in my first example, 2/3 times 3/5, notice I've taken 2 times 3 to get 6, and I've taken 3 times 5 to get 15, and then I noticed that 6/15 was not reduced fully. And so I thought I can take a 3 out of both of those terms, and have divided both of those by 3, which gave me my solution of 2/5. This is not the way that I prefer to do things. Not for me. If you like it that way, that's fine with me. I prefer the second method. And in the second method, what I'm looking for is a common factor before I even multiply that I could cancel out. So if I look at this expression, 2/3 times 3/5, I notice that there is a 3 on the top and the bottom. And as long as one is a numerator and one is a denominator, and we're looking at a product, it's okay for me to cancel those out. So notice I've canceled the 3, and that leaves me with a 2 on top and a 5 on the bottom, which is my result of 2/5, and I didn't have to worry about reduction at the end because my answer was already reduced from taking out the factors before I multiplied. Let's try both of these together. So again, I'm going to try to simplify as much as I can before I multiply. So I look at this 4 and this 6, and even though they're not right on top of each other, one is a numerator, one's a denominator, and I have a product. And I know that 4 does not go into 6, but I know that 2 goes into both of those values. So I'm going to take 4 divided by 2, which leaves me with 2, and 6 divided by 2, which leaves me with 3. And then I'm going to look at anything else. So 5, no, won't cancel with anything. 7 doesn't have a common factor with anything else. And so the top of my fraction is 2 times 5, or 10. The denominator is 7 times 3, which is 21. Notice it's already reduced all of the way. If what I've done at the other method, 4 times 5 would have been 20, and 7 times 6 would have been 42, and then I would have had to divide again by 2, so I'm dividing by the same value, and I still would get the same answer. I would have just had to divide at the end. So I prefer this first method because some people get overwhelmed with larger numbers and don't know how to reduce. Looking at the second question, notice my second number is not even a fraction, but that's okay. I'm going to take -3/2 times 12 over 1. So I'm going to write it as a fraction because I know that 12 is the same as 12 over 1. And now I'm going to reduce anything that I can. So notice 12 is even, and so is 2. So I'm going to divide 2 by 2 to get 1. I'm going to divide 12 by 2 to get 6, and nothing else will cancel. So please do not try to cancel this 3 and this 6, because notice those are both numerators of your fraction. So now what I have left on the top is -3 times 6, which is -18. And on the bottom, I have 1 times 1, so I could write my answer as -18 over 1, but really my answer is just -18. As always, here are a couple for you to try, so try both of them please, then press play to see how you did. For my first example, again, I'm going to try to reduce as much as I can. So looking at 10 and 20, I'm going to divide 10 by 10 to get 1, and 20 by 10 to get 2. I'm also going to look at the 3 and the 15. 3 goes into 3 1 time, and 3 goes into 15 5 times. And I think I've gotten everything. Now I'm going to multiply. 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 2 is 2, and so my solution is 5/2. For my next one, notice these are negatives, so quite often we'll see these in parentheses instead, but it's the same concept. Again, I'm going to reduce anything that I can. So 5 goes into 5 once, and into 55 11 times, and not a bad idea to keep that negative on the top so that we don't forget. I'm also going to reduce 2 and 14, so 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 14 divided by 2 is 7, and remember it was a negative. And then I'm going to multiply. So -1 times -7 is +7, and 1 times 11 is 11, and so 7/11.